Welcome to a building that hopefully many of you are familiar with, which is Smathers Library. This building opened in 1925. So when this particular library building opened, it was the first dedicated library building on this campus. So from 1906 to 1925, everything was scattered around the handful of buildings that were here. The biggest part of the library's collection was actually in Peabody Hall right next door, and then it moved into here. So when we opened, we had roughly 40,000 volumes, which made us the largest library in the Southeast. We now have well over 6 million volumes, so we are still one of the, in fact, the largest library, I believe, still in the Southeast. We're going to go around the corner here, and I'm going to point out a couple buildings around the corner, and then we're going to head back down this way. Anderson Hall was originally called Language Hall. This building opened in 1913, okay, so 12 years prior to the library. And it was originally the home of the College of Arts and Sciences. It also housed the president's office, the registrar's office, and other administrative offices here at the university. Straight through the trees here, you'll see another kind of dark brick building with a concrete archway. That is Bryan Hall. It's originally the College of Law. Bryan Hall opened in 1914. It was the farthest flung building of campus when it opens. It was the furthest away from everything else. That is one of 4 statues of people on this particular campus. And yes, indeed, that is a statue of our second president, Albert Murphy. He was president from about the 1910s to 1927. He oversaw a lot of the early building construction on this campus, so I always like to stop and point him out. All right, we're going to walk down this way just a little bit further and pause here in front of Peabody Hall. Welcome to Peabody Hall. As you can see from the sign right above the doorway in front of us here, was the original home of the College of Education, the Teachers College here on campus. This particular building opened in 1913, so same year as Anderson Hall. Now Peabody Hall houses a lot of the student services. The registrar's office and admissions and all that are in Kreiser Hall that are directly behind it. We're going to kind of turn. We're going to look across the street, but I want to point out Gator Hall, and I'm going to talk about something that's no longer here. In 1911, there was a different building where Gator Hall is now, and it was called Benton Hall. Benton Hall was one of the engineering buildings here on campus, and it sadly got torn down in the 1960s to make way for Gator Hall. Walker Hall, which is the kind of pinkish brick building directly behind it, was opened in 1926. Walker Hall was also an engineering building here. The Plaza of the Americas has always been a big open green space on campus. It was originally intended to be the main entrance to campus. In 1931, the university hosted the first Institute for Inter-American Affairs, which brought together all of the countries of Latin America and the Caribbean. They came here to the university. There was a big conference, cultural exchange, idea exchange, etc. And to honor that very first Institute for Inter-American Affairs conference, they planted oak trees here in the Plaza of the Americas and dedicated it as the Plaza of the Americas. Welcome to Griffin Floyd Hall. We're now starting to get into the buildings that have a lot more decoration on them to demonstrate and talk a little bit more about the building's purpose. This Griffin Floyd Hall was originally the College of Agriculture, and it opened in 1912, so it was one of the earlier academic buildings here on campus. It was the College of Agriculture for many, many, many years, and just named the Agriculture Building for many, many years. I'm going to kind of point over my shoulder here at Keene Flint Hall. It was built really early on, so they didn't do a lot of decoration on the building. So it originally opened as Science Hall. This building opened in 1910. Originally, the science departments were on the first floor, and then the University Museum, which was then the Florida State Museum, which is now the Florida Museum for Natural History, was on the second floor of Keene Flint Hall. Now, the infirmary we are not going to because it's too far away, but the infirmary opened in 1931 here on campus, and it's the first building to have an elevator in it. Welcome to Lee Hall, which was originally called the Chemistry Pharmacy Building. This building opened in 1927. I particularly like this building because it has a lot of really cool architectural detail in it. So if you look at the copper downspouts here that line the building, and you look up at the very tippy top of them, you'll see a bunch of chemical and alchemical symbols as well. So they are celebrating alchemy and chemistry in this particular building. You'll also notice some of our first grotesques that we have seen on campus buildings, but they are demonstrating the basic elements that you do in chemistry experiments, where you're decanting, you're mixing, you're heating, and then you're pouring. But the other thing I want to point out are the names on the building. So if you pay attention, especially as we walk down the side of the building, you'll notice names of famous chemists and alchemists who are above all of the windows on the third floor of this particular building. This building also has a doorway with a quote above it to kind of inspire the people who walk through to, follow the creed that's on this particular quote. All right, we have finally arrived to one of those two very first buildings here on campus. So this one is Buckman Hall, named for Senator Henry Buckman, who wrote the Buckman Act that consolidated the universities and then moved the University of Florida down here from Lake City. This was classrooms, this was administrative offices, but it was also still dormitory rooms, and every single doorway in both Thomas Hall and Buckman Hall have the exact same little grotesque face above them. And it's my favorite named one here on campus. That one is called the Anguished Scholar. All right, welcome to Sledd Hall. This building is named for our first president here at the University of Florida, Andrew Sledd. This building opened in 1929. It has been a dorm since the very beginning, and it has always been just a dorm. So Sledd Hall has a lot of decoration on it that I always like to point out to people. Number one, above the bay windows, you'll see seals of the great universities in Europe and also here in America. But I also want to point out the grotesques that are on Sledd Hall. So they're meant to kind of tell the story of academic life and student life here on campus. Another fun fact about this historic dorms district is that if you ever look at the UF campus maps or like Google Maps of campus, this whole area forms a UF. So welcome to Sledd Hall Part 2. I always love this decorative tower here on Sledd Hall. This is the Mucoso Tower. It is meant to depict the friendship between Juan Ortiz, who was the first Spanish explorer to land in Florida, and Chief Mucoso and his tribe who met them when they landed here in Florida. I also always get asked about the trunk delivery sign. When this building opened in 1929, many of the students were arriving by train, and they didn't have traditional luggage like we think of today with a suitcase. They had steamer trunks. There was a dumbwaiter, and they would lower their trunks down into the basement where they would be stored. On the other side of the tower here, where the trunk delivery is, we have Thomas Hall. So that was one of the two original buildings here on campus. Across the street, we're not going to walk over there, is Murphy Hall, which opened in 1939. Fletcher Hall, which is just north of Buckman and Sledd, also opened in 1939. Welcome to Dower Hall. This was originally the Florida Union. So this building opened in 1936. So it was like the gathering place for students. There was a lounge, there was a dance floor, the cafeteria seating, etc. was all in this building. A couple of things to point out about Dower Hall. There's an original painting to the building of like Florida fauna and fruits and things in here. It's also a stained glass window on the second floor above this bay window here that depicts the creation of the cosmos, so the forming of the seas and plant and animal life, and also the zodiac signs are sprinkled into the stained glass window. Welcome to the Agricultural Experiment Station. This is one of the earliest buildings that was built here on campus. Because we are a land-grant institution, we have that federal legal obligation to do agricultural research and extension and outreach. This was one of the priority buildings that they needed to get built first to have a place to do said agricultural research. So this building opened in 1910. Again, it has the copper downspouts, but not a lot of decoration because they didn't have a lot of money and they needed to do this quickly. Directly across from you all is Rolf's Hall, but Rolf's Hall was originally the horticulture building, and it opened in 1927. And it was classrooms, it was the offices for the state plant board. The horticulture faculty had their offices and classrooms in here. Across the way here is the hub. So if we turn around and we look directly across the street from Newell Hall, that's the hub. It opened in 1950 as the Student Services Center. It also was the bookstore. There was a post office branch, banks, etc. It's the only building on campus that was named by the students. This is the final stop of our tour, which is at the University Auditorium and Century Tower. So I'm going to start with the auditorium and then I'll talk about Century Tower here. So the University Auditorium, it was though, however, a priority for the university because in the 1920s, there was no one space on campus that was indoors that was big enough to accommodate the entire student body. Construction started in 1922. It completed in 1925, so the auditorium, just like us, is celebrating its 100th anniversary last year. This is Century Tower. Century Tower was a longtime dream of the first architect of the university, William Edwards. He wanted to have a tower in the center of campus. Before they built Library West in 1967, Smathers was the only library building on campus that was freestanding. They ran out of room for the books that weren't circulating very much, so they had nowhere else to put them, and they put them in the first floor of Century Tower. Century Tower was started in 1953, completed in 1955. So it's been around for quite a long time. It's not only a memorial to the university's first century, it is also a memorial to the students who were lost in World War I and World War II. My last piece of advice to everybody is as you're walking around campus, like, look up when you're walking around. Don't just be so focused on where you're going that you forget to stop and look around you, because we have a lot of really cool, interesting buildings here, especially in the historic district of campus.